Windbreaker was a surprise hit for me and a lot of other anime fans. Thanks to the wholesome moments, likable characters, and some of the best fights in recent history, we got a great Delinquent series. So when Season 2 was announced, you know I was going to be hyped for it. We finally got our boys back. We have more fights, more characters, and some pretty interesting developments. But I'm not going to go too long with this intro. Let's get into it.
I rock thumbsticks and analog and aiming steady. So name the game and I'll shame you. Just tell me when you're ready. I take it global. What's next? You think you got me stumped, punk? Chumps.
At the end of Season 1, our favorite tsundere Sakura got voted to be the grade captain by his classmates. Nirei and Suo volunteered to be his secondaries, and the three do their best to live up to their classmates' standards. But immediately, there's trouble afoot.
That's not good news.
One of their first years, Anzai, had a friend who's part of a gang called Keel. Keel are way worse than Shishidoran. They rob people, attack others with weapons, and gang up on them. Anzai's friend Nagato was tricked into joining the group and isn't allowed to leave. So when Sakura hears about the details through Anzai and his friend Tsuchiya, he leads the class on a mission to save Nagato. You really see how much Sakura has grown, in that he decides to hear out Tsuchiya. He's never met this girl, and yet thanks to his friend's influence, he's able to empathize more openly and help people in need. Anyways, the boys are off to Keel's lair. The boys arrive at Keel's lair, and thank God they brought Sugishita. Keel's members are surrounding the Bofurin boys, but they seem unfazed. They show no signs of fear, even after they deal with the ridiculous conversation about soccer metaphors. So is this just a tradition? Random conversations before a big fight? I can only imagine what other things they end up talking about.
You can be twins and not born at the same time?
Hold on now.
Wait
So
a minute.
wait.
I'm confused. Wait, listen.
Wait. You idiots are trying to tell me.
They start their fight, and at first, things are going well. The boys are working well together, even if they're outnumbered in an unfamiliar territory. It's nice how even Anzai and his friends, or as they've been dubbed by the fans, the four Earthly Kings, get some shine in the fight. Sadly, it does not stay that way. Anzai charges Keel's leader, Natori, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. To make things worse, Keel continue their dirty tricks and start to change the tide of the fight. They even have some of their tougher members join the fight against our main group. Sugishita fights someone quick and agile. Kiryu goes toe-to-toe with the brute with pure strength. Suo has to protect Nirei in his fight, and our underrated, lovable ball of positivity Sugera takes on, well, someone who has no time for his showmanship. Sakura sees his friends going down, and he gets too focused on taking enemies down, as opposed to checking on his friends. And throughout all the chaos, Nirei is experiencing what seems to be a panic attack. Remember, he's not much of a fighter, so he feels worthless and guilty over not being able to help his friends. He charges a Keel member and some asshat attacks him for it. This scene is really hard to watch in the best way possible. It really builds up just how awful Keel are, and as much as we all love Nirei, we all knew he made a mistake running off. But, never fear, the second years are here. Enomoto, the Yakuza film loving roller of the R's. Kusumi, the quiet communicator and kid who still has a better haircut than most Boruto designs, and of course, the second grade captain with too many cavities to count, Kaji Ren. Oh, sorry Enomoto, you got this.
Tamon team's second-year grade captain is Ren Kaji!
Kaji and the others visibly shake up the Keel members and easily dispatch of a handful of them. We even see Kusumi's eye pass his hair. Oh god! Kaji was right. Kusumi can be scary. Kaji also snaps Sakura out of his trance and convinces him to focus on protecting his friends, rather than simply destroying enemies. Sakura, after a bit, takes his words to heart, and is able to fend off several more members. Thanks to the second years, our boys are able to fight far more effectively than before. These fights are really fun. You see the boys go up against their polar opposites, and we learn tiny little bits about them. The show really wants to tell their stories in small doses, rather than info dumps, and it's really compelling. Hell, Sugera finishes a guy with a dropkick to the stomach, even saying that he makes a great heel. Considering his English VA is a wrestling fan, I can only imagine that was pretty fun to say for him. And how is Suo yeah! Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, this is a new side of Suo. He had no intention of teasing or ridiculing. He was out for blood. Suo might be a clown sometimes, but you don't mess with his friends. It reminds me of Hiragi saying that deep down, Suo was a very emotional person, and Sakura, while he understands, has to stop Suo before he goes too far. He opens up about how he blames himself and snaps Suo out of it. It really adds so much more intrigue to Suo's character and personality. Meanwhile, Kaji goes up against Natori, a total sadist who tries to control people through fear. He wants Kaji to go back to the person he used to be, a wild beast who let his temper snap. But it's not as easy as that. Kaji has learned to control that. The fight is pretty short, but it works well. We see how Kaji's growth and restraint has made him the better fighter and a better person, and even when Natori is attacking him with a pipe, Kaji doesn't snap until the person who originally saved him is insulted. Interesting. If Natori's goal was to anger Kaji, he succeeded. If his goal was to unleash part of his inner beast, he succeeded. If his goal was to win the fight, he failed. Our boys win the day and save Nagato. He reveals that he was tricked into joining Keel, wanting to be strong and cool like Anzai, but Anzai and the others encourage him to forgive himself and they all make up. In one of my favorite moments of the season, Anzai, Nagato, and Tsuchiya reunite, and Tsuchiya tearfully thanks Sakura for his help, and he responds in the same way you'd expect. But overall, the Keel Arc was pretty good. We got to see some interesting sides from our favorite characters, and the villains were scummy enough that you really wanted to see them get destroyed by our heroes. I guess that pretty much wraps it all up. Oh god. So the general from Mr. Villain's Day Off got sent here for work? No, but seriously, who the hell?
Oh my god!
It's at this point where we get a little bit of a break from the main story. Sakura is still feeling down over the last fight. He's disappointed in himself because a lot of his friends got hurt and he wasn't able to fully protect them. He keeps beating himself up over it even when his friends trying to cheer him up. Even when he gets sick, he doesn't want to rely on people because he's been alone for so long. I love this because you see the reactions of Nirei and Suo when they see Sakura's living situation. Thankfully, thanks to a talk from both Kotoha and Kaji, they both let Sakura know it's okay to rely on people and delegate. Kaji in particular gets a great talk with Sakura, where it's revealed he's doing the same thing with Sakura that Hiragi did with him. He talked to straighten him out and teach him more about being a grade captain. As disappointed as I am that Hiragi didn't get the most to work with in this season, it's awesome to see just how much he's influencing people, and I definitely think the series would be a little worse if Hiragi wasn't in it. Sadly, Umemiya and him eavesdrop on Sakura and Kanji's conversation, and Umemiya gets decked. Never change, Umemiya. But as much as I would have loved Hiragi to get more love, he's not the only king we get to see this season. And now we get to one of the most talked about parts of this season, Tsubakino. Another one of the four kings, Tsubakino is incredibly friendly and popular among the town. And yes, I said kings. Tsubakino is a guy. It's an all-boys school. What did you expect?
She's a freaking giant! I've been wanting to meet you! Where'd that voice come from?
In one of the most emotional episodes of the show, we see that Tsubaki liked cute things from a very early age, but always hid it from people because he was scared of being judged and bullied. He meets an elderly couple who are incredibly friendly and fashionable, and he befriends them. One day while visiting them, he tries on lipstick. After seeing what he looks like, he breaks down in tears over it, claims that he hates how happy he feels when he wears lipstick, and enjoys the cuter things in life. But the elderly couple reassure him that they love him no matter what. The differences between men and women are important. However, they still encourage him to be the person he is. It's a beautiful moment that really shows how kind the people in this town are, just how accepting they can be of someone who feels different. Heck, even Sakura reassured Tsubaki that he had nothing to be concerned of. Even after the wife passes away, Tsubaki does everything in his power to make the husband Ito smile and enjoy life. It's a brilliant introduction to Tsubaki and immediately has him stand out as a lot of people's favorite character, in a brilliant set of episodes. A lot of fans and non-fans have spoken up about how represented they feel when they saw Tsubaki's story, and frankly that's awesome. I really love seeing stuff like that. A nice set of slice of life episodes. But, you know, there's no fighting in these episodes and it's all about a man who wears dresses and makeup, so I guess that's just too much for some people to handle. Over the next few episodes, our main trio is in the Red Light District.
What do you mean by that?
Tsubaki wants to thank them for their help with Ito, but before they can find their king, a girl falls from the sky onto Sakura. Wow, she really knocked him out before any of the villains did. As it turns out, the girl was running away from some scumbags hired to kidnap her. Of course, our Bofu boys...
What? I'm out, man.
Okay, bad name. Easily dispatch of the goons, but in a twist, Nirei dodges a punch. And it's not just a lucky break. After Sakura talked with his class, Nirei revealed to Suo that he feels useless to Sakura and the rest of the class. He wants to help Sakura reach the top of Bofurin and be by his side. You really get an awesome sense of Nirei's determination and need to improve his confidence, even if we all know how great he is. So Suo decides to teach him to defend himself, roly-poly style. The three save the girl, Shizuka, and she thanks them, before another guy shows up. The new guy is pissed at the boys, and he thinks that they hurt her. Before he goes too crazy, Shizuka slaps him out of it. Literally slap. You know, I'm starting to think that the women in this show are actually the strongest, and they're just letting the men feel better. The man in question, Kanji, apologizes, and he explains that he is tasked with protecting Shizuka.
What do you mean?
He even has his own gang, Roppo Ichiza, a gang of men who protect their town like Bofurin. They even used to have brawls with Bofurin before the latter changed their ways. We learn that both Shizuka and Kanji are very close, so close in fact that Sakura's romance detector goes off. The same thing that happened when Sakura saw Umemiya and Tsubaki together. Speaking of, we learned that Tsubaki and Shizuka are close. They both perform at a club together. Shizuka sings and Tsubaki, Well, was I surprised? Yes. But was I impressed? Absolutely. At this point, they can't make me hate Tsubaki. So the boys enjoy a nice thank you meal from Tsubaki, and apparently so do his subordinates, Seiryu and Uryu. Dude, slow down. The boys get thanked again for helping Mr. Ito and are treated to a lovely song by Shizuka.
And snow keeps on coming. Yeah.
Fanboy, shouldn't you get back to work?
Props to the actress for singing completely in English, and Kanji is way too into this. But before Nirei can go up on stage and start singing Kaze ni Nare, Kanji gets notified about some guys causing commotion in the city. Sakura and the others go along with Kanji, while Tsubaki and the twins stay to protect Shizuka. These fights are really fun. You get to see how similar Kanji and Umemiya are in terms of their styles. Lovable, yet very dangerous. He almost takes out Sakura in his blind rage. Dibs on never fighting him. As the boys and Roppo Ichiza take down more and more enemies, a new group of jerks show up, led by a boy named Suzuri. He leads the group Gravel, a group of boys from a poorer district. Coincidentally, they are after Shizuka, who is also from that district. Some old troglodyte wants to buy her. Kanji tells our main trio to get back to the club and protect Shizuka, and Sakura doesn't want to obey. But Kanji insists that he listens and follows the mission. Suo tries to take Sakura back, but Shizuka has already run off to the conflict. Really, Tsubaki? Really, twins? You couldn't keep distracting her with your weird game of dress-up? We get to see Shizuka in the past. Kanji encouraged her to stay in town after running away, and how much her friends mean to her as well. But she can't stand to see the people she loves getting hurt, even if the heroes look like they could probably win with a few more minutes. Shizuka decides to turn herself into Gravel, but we get a great speech about self-worth and the help of others from Nirei. He may not fight, but Nirei always finds a way to win our hearts. Fortunately, Tsubaki and the twins arrive just in time and convince Shizuka to stay. Thank God, cause now we get to see them fight. Karu and Hikaru, Seiryu and Uryu display amazing teamwork and are able to knock out a good amount of thugs. Admittedly, I wasn't huge on them when I first read these chapters, but seeing their fights and personalities shine through in the anime definitely won me over. Meanwhile, Tsubaki has a graceful, but still incredibly dangerous fighting style. He does some dances with his opponents before beating them down. Trust me, it's hard to fight in heels. I assume. He battles Suzuri and he finds a weak spot, jealousy. Suzuri is jealous of Shizuka for trying to find and succeeding at having a better life. Why would that matter so much? Well, Suzuri grew up dirt poor. Even when he found food or money, he would split it with his teammates. But the more guys joined, the less rewards were given out. So he began to take charge of the types of jobs they would do, but he started to go too far. Tsubaki continues to fight him, but also tries to encourage Suzuri that life is worth living for, and there's plenty of things to do when you find your will to live, while also beating the piss out of him. Eventually, though, Suzuri realizes the error of his ways and he and his gang stand down. Yeah, this wasn't my favorite ending. Suzuri reminds me of Choji in the sense that they want to do the right thing for their gang, but don't go about it in the right way. But I felt like with Choji and Shishorin, we saw more of what he used to be like, and the snapping point. We also got others' perspectives on why his sudden change felt so awful, and even a tearful acceptance on how much of a monster he was. But Suzuri more or less decides, well, Girl Scout cookies aren't working out. Time for kidnapping. I know people are gonna disagree, and that's fine. But yeah, the ending wasn't for me. Afterwards, Sakura tells Kanji that they have different philosophies in life. Kanji is fine losing so long as the mission succeeds, but Sakura doesn't want to see his friends get hurt. He can't fathom to see his buddies go down. I cannot understate just how proud of this kid I am. Unfortunately, someone else has been snooping on our heroes. The man watching our heroes leaps from the roof to confront them. After somehow not breaking his ankles, although he screams like he definitely did break them, the man antagonizes the gang. Tsubaki and Kanji seem to know him, and his name is Endo.
But wait! There's more!
He calls out Sakura in particular. He was the man who got up after the Keel fight, and he remarks how Sakura doesn't belong in Bofurin. Suo, Kanji, and Tsubaki all attack him for saying that, and Nirei at one point yells at Endo for his thoughts. This scene really sells just how much the gang cares about Sakura. Duo in particular jumping the gun. The guy never strikes first, but was willing to do so for his friend. Fortunately, Suzuri calls off Endo, the two working with the man who wanted Shizuka. He leaves them behind, our gang in a shaken state. The next day, Sakura, Nirei, and Suo all meet on the roof with Umemiya, the four kings, and their secondaries. And Sugishita is here too. Still a bit disappointed we haven't gotten more with him, but seeing Sugishita being a smug jerk to Sakura always gets a laugh out of him. He didn't even stick around for Sakura pouring his heart out to the gang. Hey, come back here! Hey! Ugh. Anyways, the gang goes over what happened. Endo used to be a Furin student who raised chaos. He and his gang were troublemakers that ruled the school. This, of course, before Umemiya and the Four Kings stopped them and turned the town into what it is today. The whole story told by Nirei, who gets way into this story. You know, if he ever has kids, Nirei's bedtime stories are going to be amazing. But Umemiya corrects some things. Endo's gang didn't leave after being beaten. They left of their own accord, and Umemiya has never faced Endo himself. And worst of all, Endo isn't the one in charge of everything. That would be Chika Takeishi. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh hey, the voice actors. That's Levi and Erwin from Attack on Titan. And to that I say, no, that's Saiki and Nendo.
Oh, tissue ある? さて、じゃあラーメン食いに行こうぜ。
Before attacking Bofurin again, is Endo gonna convince his buddy to go get some ramen? But it's not all fun and games. Umemiya and the others suspect that the two rogues will come back after the town and the school. However, Sakura is unfazed. He makes a great speech about wanting to protect the town, moving everyone involved, and we have a war to prepare for. Overall, Windbreaker's second season was pretty awesome. I had so much fun with it. There weren't nearly as many fights, but that's okay. I love slice of life stuff, and especially if it's meaningful. It wasn't just filler. We were given reasons to care more about our favorite characters. Sakura wanted to become a better leader for his friends, Nirei wanted to become more dependable and less of a burden, and Suo had a desire to help others and be relied on. Even if we didn't get the most from our other boys, all of the other characters are so interesting and likable enough that I can still find enjoyment in it. Not to mention, the added danger of the upcoming fights does make the happier moments stand out more. The jokes still hit too, especially in the English dub.
I know! If he decides to ditch, I'll pay him a visit and leave some protein.
Do you always bring that in your backpack?
This one is my desk protein!
As I'm recording this, there's been no Season 3 announcement, but I'll keep waiting. Please. I need something to fill the Black Clover-sized hole in what's left of my heart. And we have so many unanswered questions. What's this new gang like? How do Suo and Sugera know each other? Will Kotaha get any more screen time? And will Tsuchiya get any of Sakura's food? Probably not.
Get your own.
Right. Guess I will.
But yeah, Windbreaker's second season is definitely worth picking up, especially if you loved the first season. Did you guys like the season? More or less than the first? Let me know in the comments. This has been Alex from Anime Egotists, reminding you that a Sakura laugh a day keeps the doctor away.
Party!